Hey, it's Amanda with the Hey I'm Here campaign, and you want to talk about mental health recovery or your mental health journey on social media. How do you do that? Well, it's really important to establish a voice versus your voice. Where are you coming from when you want to talk about these topics? Are you coming from your own personal experience? Are you coming from somebody else's experience? It's so important to be authentic, and it's so important to use your lived experience rather than guiding somebody to a diagnosis. A really easy way to talk about your mental health recovery journey without leading people to a specific diagnosis or to a specific consensus is to always use, this is what I did, what worked for me, and on my journey. If we're talking about mental health on social media, that is a big task to take on. That is a huge responsibility that I do not take lightly. I talk about mental health on social media a lot because social media helped me with my journey a lot. And the things that helped me the most were people explaining their lived experience from their perspective. They weren't saying, well, if you experience this, you need to go do this, this, and this. They were instead saying, I struggled with this, and these are the things that helped me. We have a personal responsibility as individuals navigating social media with mental health challenges to speak properly about them. And if there's something that you don't know or that you're not informed enough about, it's okay to say that. There's been so many times when I have said in my journey, I actually don't know that information, so I'm going to go learn about it. It's so important that we're operating from our personal lived experience and nobody else's. It's also important that we're not regurgitating clinical information from our therapist or a psychiatrist that we don't necessarily know about. When we're looking at clinical or diagnostic language or information, it's really important to be mindful of how you speak about that. Talking about mental health on social media is really difficult because people can grab onto one thing that you say and then run with it. We want to be very careful and really mindful of making sure that we're talking about our lived experience only and ensuring that other people can't diagnose based upon what we say. Obviously, people are going to do what they want. So just being mindful moving forward about what you say, how you say it, and who it is directed to. And also ask yourself, what is the purpose of speaking about this topic? Is it to raise awareness? Is it to share your personal story? What is the purpose of you sharing this with the overall audience? What audience are you speaking to? Who do you want this information directed towards? All of these things are very important to put into perspective when we're talking about mental health on social media. I always like to use the example when I'm talking about my story of real versus raw. We want to talk about the real of the situation. We want to talk about the reality of what we're facing, but we don't necessarily want to go into the raw, unadulterated, just pulled back all the layers type details. This looks like I struggled with self-harm rather than going into intricate details of the self-harm that you may have experienced. This is all just to say that speaking on social media about your mental health journey and about mental health in general is a huge responsibility. Do not take it lightly. Make sure that you're speaking from personal lived experience, not using language like you, using more person-first language like I or my struggle or my experience. Now, simple and easy ways that you can do this is just saying things like, in my journey, I personally struggle with complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, you can look up what that means for you. I know what it means for me, and I know what it means, obviously, diagnostically because I have the diagnosis. But I had a long line and history of trauma and experiences of trauma in my childhood. And therefore, there were a lot of hoops that I had to jump through. CBT didn't necessarily work very well for me because talk therapy did not work well for my specific trauma. Because in my specific trauma journey, I needed to feel things, right? I needed somatic therapy. I needed dialectical behavioral therapy. I needed eye movement desensitization and reprocessing therapy, all because of the trauma in which I experienced didn't go well with CBT. Now, this is not to say that cognitive behavioral therapy won't work for you. It's just about trying different modalities and understanding what works for your specific diagnosis. That's just a very short example of ways that you can talk about mental health on social media without having other people diagnose. Add in modifiers, make sure that you are saying, in my experience, in my specific journey, and do what works for you. I hope this helps make a better understanding of how you can talk about your mental health journey and be responsible. Bye. See you next time.